Do you think we're live now, Victor?
I think so. Just Fiona shows some art. Fiona, please.
Do you think we're live now? Oh, we are, Victor.
I think so. Just Fiona shows.
Because I
Let's
can
just
hear
keep
our
going,
live
and
stream.
hopefully
Sure.
people can see us later.
Okay. Well, they can see us. I have confirmed this. So, hello everybody, and welcome to another Founders Talk, where Victor and I talk about stuff that we engage with in Humanoid. And well, it's been a long time. I think the last time Victor was alone here on this, live streaming. And what did you talk about that time, Victor?
And I don't even remember when it was last time. It was long ago.
Okay,
I think
well,
we talked
that's not
about
the answer I would like.
yeah. We actually hosted our conference, real life conference, and after that, didn't talk
Oh,
much,
that
but
was
people could.
before that. Oh my. Okay, well, that was a while ago. Okay, so I guess it's the first Founders Talk then of this year. Oh my God! Like, yeah, it's been a
Yeah,
while
yeah. I
since
was
March
I was
already.
going on Founders Talk alone because you were on the plane
That's true.
this
That's
year.
true. Yeah, guys. So here we're back talking about stuff that we're engaging with in Humanoid, and there's plenty of stuff to discuss today. I think if you've been following Humanoid media in the last several months or so, you should be pretty much up to date with what we are working on right now. But um, today we're here to basically talk so that you can learn, about the perspective of founders and how we see, process evolving in humanoid ecosystem and um, like new places. I think that humanoid will reach in the upcoming years or so. And if you've been following humanoid like version one for the last 2 months, you pretty much might know what we're going to be discussing today. And we'll call them pillars, but like in reality, they are like, um, as we think in humanoid core, most um, good definers of what humanoid version one is. And I think, yeah, Victor, we're going to talk about that today, right? But I suggest that
Yeah,
we can also
the four
touch about
pillars that we will be
biomapper as
focusing on.
well.
What did you
I
ask?
just wanted to ask if you want to start with the biomapper or the pillars.
I think it is logical because these are the major news we're releasing lately, right? And you have to know that Mapper and even Discord integration is are kind of small steps towards what we call SR gate, right? Because Biomapper connects Web3 world, so to say. We want to also explore non-EVM chains. At the same time, separately, we have Discord and Telegram integration. But in the end, as we envision it, it should be all interconnected, right?
Well, internet interconnected from the product side, you mean? Because from the crypto biometric infrastructure side, it's already kind of interconnected, right?
Yeah, sure. They kind of right now use the same crypto biometric things we have. CVM, one of the most accurate face recognition algorithm, lens detection, all that stuff is common for them. But yeah, as a product, they would be connected into one account, right?
By the way, guys, if you have any, um, yeah, if you have any questions that you want to lay out, please just write them somewhere, either in our TG or YouTube or anywhere, and hopefully we'll be able to see it. You can also use X, I think. Yeah. So we're gonna answer your questions in live if you have any. So Victor, continuing on talking about biomapper, right? Mm, there's a lot of materials out there already what biomapper is and how it works and how privacy works in it as well. But maybe we want to tell guys today how like we see the evolution of biomapper in the future, like for example in the next 12 months, and what are our goals with its like development, deployment plan, like what like things that we haven't talked about before we see being implemented in the next 12 months or so
In
in
the next,
accordance with the biomapper. Yeah.
I would say that yeah, in the next 12 months, Biomapper won't yet uh, migrate and turn into a Stargate yet. But this year we'll be focusing on integrating as many chains as possible. So I think we have good pace now, and we will keep up to it. And at the same time, Biomapper really needs the cross-chain token transfers from any chain at low cost. Uh, that is why making Biomapper cross-chain on the token side is a very important goal for now. And I think, of course, once we have that, we already talked to many teams who would like to use Biomapper. They include attestation protocols, they include scoring protocols, they include some Sybil resistant, well, gaming, as we know, right? We can talk about it later. But in terms of Biomapper, we'll also be pushing not just chains, but we'll be pushing adoption across the ecosystems of these chains. So I would say that that's the minimum that we would do not well, in the next 12 months.
So you were like referring mostly to like this horizontal integration of various layers, right, into the infrastructure of biomapper. And you were also referring to the cross-chain monetary bridge, right? And as like yes, indeed, we think that these are like the most important things to evolve and develop right now in biomapper. But I would also add the like UI and UX evolution here as well.
Yeah,
Yes, because like we
yeah,
are going to
total
constantly.
UI UX revolution that is only possible with the basically token bridge, unfortunately. But we're getting there.
Yeah. Not only that, Victor, it's like making people understand. I think even more on the side of those who integrate biomapper into the apps is that they can now use this cross-chain Sybil resistance. I know it sounds like a buzz of word fest if you put it like that, but it really makes sense if, for example, address and like this wallet is Sybil resistance simultaneously on many layer ones, right? So even like your cross-chain apps, if you're running some bridged stuff, bridge the fee, it also can be like done in a single Sybil resistance system, even if it's on separate layers, because it's Sybil resistant through humanoid on all of those layer ones and applications as well. So I think like when users feel the comfort of that in the UI UX, we're gonna see like a lot of people and a lot of dApps using it. For example, one of the things, right, that we discussed not so long ago in our development syncs is that we might add like a tool to make you bridging much easier, so you don't have to like bridge to every single layer separately, so that you could like bridge simultaneously to like 10 major ones or all of them like in one contract signed basically. And if we add
Yeah, this will be a
cross-chain
little bit harder to bundle as like 20
yes,
transactions on 20 chains in one click, but it is possible.
but if it's possible and doable, with a single native token of any chain to be paid by, and well, that's going to be something magical, I think. You
Yeah,
like
you would
become
still
civilizations.
have to biomap on humanoid side for now, but you would just require, I would say, 2, 3 signatures to get your biomapping everywhere we are, and forget about it for half a year for any chain. And
So there are now like
it's a nice
five chains
approach
connected,
because
right? Am I correct? Yes, I think there are five
oh,
chains,
sorry.
right? There are five chains where Biomapper is deployed right now. I think. I'm not mistaken.
Probably. I don't remember. I lost the count. We're releasing them pretty fast. Not counting just.
It's not that much. Avalanche, Base, Say, Sonic, and it was also Filecoin. Like imagine another 20 layer ones there, and you can become civil resist. Like you buy them at once on a human node, all right? You do go for face scanning once, and then you just go and you bridge it with like one bundle transaction, and you pay with any currency from any of those layers. So that would be very cool. Well, like I think that would be very magical to see how like all those EVM compatible accounts for all those ecosystems become Sybil resistant simultaneously. Yeah,
Sure,
don't
sure.
think. Yeah, yeah. What can we add about the biomapper, Victor?
I think it's pretty straightforward. We talked a lot about Biomapper. We should just explain clearly that our one of our pillars is actually called SR Gate, not Biomapper, and how they are interconnected. That would be interesting to people.
Okay, then we can then move to talking about the pillars. So, like everybody has to understand that. Yeah, we're talking about the pillars as in like building blocks for the humanoid version 1.0 that we think should be in place to actually say that initial vision of humanoid laid out in humanoid way paper has been implemented at least to a certain degree, because eventually, of course, you have to optimize and fine tune every single part of the ecosystem endlessly. And um, there is much more to be done than just four pillars for this system to actually work close to perfection. And realistically speaking, decade at least, maybe even more, is necessary to get to the real decentralization. Well, when it's decentralized all over gossip layers, it's decentralized on the validator set, on the consensus mechanism and stuff like this. So there's a lot of things to be done on all layers of this system. But the critical principles of humanoid, I think, will be realized in a basic sense when these four pillars are in action. Uh, then we're going to talk about them today with Victor in detail. Like I would just name them first, and we can then discuss every single one of them separately. So the first one I will say is Vortex, like the governing body of humanoid, and it's like an egalitarian, democratic, basically body that governs this network. The main difference between now and that version of humanoid is that now there's a foundational team of 20 people, 20 plus, and we manage the network like a company probably, because we have like people working together like in groups, and we have like a vertical hierarchy and stuff like this. The transitioning of power from the foundation to vortex is a crucial point and principle in actually launching humanoid. I personally think that before this transition of power from the foundation to the governing body happens, um, it's more like a proto state of the governance in the chain, and it will like begin flourishing as a properly egalitarian democratic chain only after that happens. The second thing is SR gate, Sybil resistant gate. It's like the name that we use for it. In a sense, it's basically biomapper, but within a UI that allows a user to control how um, his identity is connected to various layers and Web 2 services. And it converges into being able to have your private biometric identity and use it as a corner store for security and signups in various services and Sybil resistance in Web3. So, as Victor mentioned before, Bolt Basher is like proto version of SR Gate. The third thing, which which is like my, how can I say, my very important personal goal, is true decentralization among a lot of people. In a sense that we have 1,800 validators today, and maybe that's more than most of the networks out there, but still, it's not enough. Um, I personally aim in this humanoid version one at 10,000 human validators, but in the long run, like in 10 years or so, millions of humanoid individual validators. 1 million is a goal that I would like to see happen, where I will personally believe that indeed now the global decentralization has been established. And the fourth one, last but not least, is the ecosystem growth, in a sense that companies and projects and various services being deployed on the human node as a network, as pretty much on all other layer ones. There are so many things that can be done, from DeFi to art projects in NFT to, I will not say memes, I will not say it. You have plenty other places to do it, but a real projects that bring real value, based on such a decentralized consensus mechanism that is in Humanote. And goal for version 1.0 is to have at least 10 of those. And when we see and understand that SRG is a fully functioning service, that there's a vortex governance that had transitioning of power from foundation to its governing bodies, then we see that there are at least 10,000 humanoid validators, and that there is like 10 fully functioning working projects and services on Humanoid. We will then deem that Humanoid version 1.0 was put in place. Um, Victor, do you have anything to add to this high overview vision?
I just would add that these things are all very interconnected and one fuels another, so to say. Because if we want to have a lot of nodes, we have to have enough fees for them, right? And we get fees both from SR Gate and ecosystem projects. And at the same time, the more nodes you have, the more active probably your DAO is, and amount of governors, the decentralization of voting power, and well, you have basically more people supporting humanoid because governance they usually do things, not only vote on them.
Well, I agree with you on that. But I would suggest that we now delve into um, details of every single section separately.
Any of them, yeah.
And well, let's talk about then your favorite theme. Probably all this is the ecosystem growth and development. And
Yeah, well, would you like to
the
tell
question is,
people about our approach here, which is, let's say, not traditional for crypto?
uh, there are many things that are not traditional here, but what are you referring to specifically?
I'm just referring to, well, yeah, the goal is to get 10 apps with users, of course, with business models working, not just empty ghost apps that would not count. And currently, we're working with two of them already. We haven't yet found the third one, but our approach is the one that we described on the like incubation page, right? Our approach is to work with the projects a lot, choose only few projects to make sure that we do not seed and spend our resources on 1,000 projects, which will be dead pretty soon, but we only spend our time on the best ones.
The best ones, yes. Like we decided to go in the quality approach in this, and maybe Victor, you could highlight the various places and things in the ecosystem that are open actually for various projects that can be deployed on them, because they usually make up the like, classical initial basic infrastructure for layer one.
Yeah, that's true. Projects with a lot of users, they would need certain infrastructure, but I think that we already invested a lot of time and resources into integrating with our chain, and soon we will have, I would say, the perfect bundle of solutions, for good projects to have great liquidity, great UX, and onboarding experience for users so that they don't churn and they actually stay on the platform.
Hmm.
And well, we can, I think, already reveal what here. Uh, am I back, Dato? Check, check.
Yeah, we can hear you, Victor.
Can you hear me? Okay, I'm back.
You are
Fiona
back.
tells me I'm back.
Cool.
So where did we stop?
Now you're back, I think.
Well, I'm going back and forth, I would say.
But I think it's stable now, more or less. Oh, it's not.
Because that's what happens. Just continue
That,
without me for now, Dato.
yeah, sure. So basically, probably we should move on to uh, the next pillar in this thing. All right. Well, he's interfering with my voice as well. Maybe,
I
guys,
talk
while Victor
finally.
is logging, you can send in some questions that I might ask until he stops logging. LFG, Humanoid is doing a great job. That's not a question. The brand round music. Well, I guess our community doesn't have any questions for us, Victor. Hmm. Maybe TG? No, don't see
That
anything.
happens.
Victor is still lagging.
I have no idea what's happening, frankly speaking.
Internet is happening. So let me then continue talking about the pillars. Uh, we were discussing the first pillar, actually, the fourth pillar that I mentioned before, the ecosystem development one. And as I mentioned previously, there are three others: the vortex, the SR gate, and the true decentralization one. And let's then talk about the vortex, because maybe I personally believe that is a very crucial pillar of launching humanoid. Vortex is a very complex governing mechanism. It has a lot of layers, and um, it really demands direct participation from humanoid validators. I know that hundreds, hundreds of validators, thousand actually, 1,000 validators um, are doing a perfect job of scanning themselves every week without losing a single epoch. Um, and like it really shows the dedication to the project from the community side without being like able to like miss even one epoch. And it's it says a lot about the organization of the person doing that. And we believe that people with such determination can also participate in governance, and instead of only us making all the decisions, pushing out projects out there and building, we branch out the governing to people who run the nodes. And uh, I guess, as it was mentioned in the white paper at the very beginning, we had 4 years time to build Vortex as a system since the mainnet launch. Um, as we're playing on right now, we believe that we'll like use this time thoroughly until like as maximum as we can to make sure that the system is reliant, the system is stable, and basically will not go off rails or crash when it is deployed. So we can envision, of course, some testing periods, some periods with partial autonomy, but eventually, of course, the system will fully transition to being governed like only by the Vortex governing body. And it's not going to be like one day flick of a switch. It's going to be a gradual transitioning from foundation to the Vortex body. And of course, not only the humanoid validators, but I think the whole founding team in its full, and all foundation members are going to become governors in this system. I'll be shocked if they don't. I'm looking all of you right now. So, yeah. Victor, are you back with us?
Oh yeah, I'll be back in the last 3 minutes or so.
Cool, cool. It's great to have you back. So as you can hear, I've already transitioned to talking about Vortex, and I was talking about like the necessity of another several years to actually
Yeah,
build into
yeah, I
it.
know that. Yeah, I also
But
think so.
you have to know that the development of Vortex has already begun. The research has been ongoing for 8 years. It's really like that. No, it's not a joke. And right now we are beginning, the development to actually create the first implementation of it. So we'll see how it goes. Do you, Victor, have any comments on the Vortex part?
I think you covered all of it. I won't give any clear timelines, but it feels to me that we will be testing something this year, and probably the first iteration of on-chain on mainnet may totally happen in 3 years' time. But tests would already mimic what's going to be on mainnet, right? So it will be a lot of fun already.
Um, Next, we talk about true decentralization, Victor. So we name it for simplicity, of course, like that. But what is really like true decentralization for you? When do you think a humanoid achieves decentralization suitable for egalitarian consensus mechanism?
That's a hard question, I would say, when you are decentralized enough.
What's that?
For we just look at the market and you see all these layer twos, where multi-sig can withdraw all the bridged billions, and people still use it. What's for each person, the true decentralization would be different in quantitative terms. So for me,
Okay.
10,000 nodes it already sounds nice, but of course, 100,000 already like a small country.
Yep. Do you see hard forks of humanoid and New projects,
But
humanoid like arising from our validators in the future.
yeah, sure, it might happen very quick. By the way, that I can hear.
You can't hear me.
Yeah, I can hear myself.
Oh,
I think that forks will happen fast because it's almost a democracy. It's cognitocracy, and in current DAOs, you just have power grab by buying a lot of tokens, or you simply have the full control of the founding team, which is even more likely. But in our case, I think people will quarrel a lot, and they will create their own DAOs with their own tokens, basically hard forking humanoid DAO, the first one, so to say.
I'm just wondering what should be the trigger for such a fork.
It can be some underrepresentation or undervaluation of some rooms, I would say some chambers, so that you have a chamber of very smart people who think they're smarter than everybody else, but for some reason the funding doesn't go into their hands, and they think that the DAO is broken just because they don't have a big voice there. So they would like to have a bigger voice, and then they launch pretty much a more specified DAO than humanoid is, probably because they focus on less things. Let's say I don't know. I had a stupid example of the DAO of plumbers. Just imagine there is a chamber like that. For some reason, humanoid. I don't know why. Maybe they're developing some plumbing solutions new for this
Lumber,
world that will change
lumber
everything.
chamber, right? Um, I'm always fascinated by imagining fractionalism in such a system. So maybe
Mention,
divide the ideological. Yes, not just
yeah, sure.
profession based. So for example, there is like a monetary or fiscal policy that goes misaligns with um, ideological morals of some subgroup. They might defect and say we don't want to live in this monetary reality anymore, so we're going to another one. I think like
I
forking
think
a human node into a separate chain is very easy now.
it's always been easy
You
forking
just
chain.
need another client. Is our launcher
Okay,
open source? I think not. So it's a little bit harder, but like you still can do it.
sorry. So my people say that my internet is still very bad. They can't even see me, and this
Seeing
is very
you
weird.
is
How I can do anything about it because I tried all of it.
seeing you is one thing. Hearing you, well, I can hear you just fine.
No, oh nice.
Then again, true decentralization for you, it's 22,000 people, as you said.
No, 100,000.
100,000.
100,000 will require spending. Oh my god, it's a lot of money per
You,
month.
you need to
Like more
collude
than a million of fees.
66,000 people to collude to change something. I think it's pretty tough.
Yeah, but that's what you have on level of small country. Somehow they agree to do something. Yeah, of course, we will not have representative things that much. There will be some professional representation, but on general voting, you people would vote directly on proposals.
Well, I think now we have discussed the three pillars very extensively. Like we've discussed Vortex, we've talked about the ecosystem growth, We've talked about SR Gate, and like we've pretty much touched upon all the pillars here, Victor. So maybe we can talk about some personal developments for humanoid that have been kind of left outside the pillars, but we still think that they're very important for the development of the whole ecosystem.
Well, there is ongoing updates of the chain that make it more secure, faster, and have more feature for developers, right? So there is just the chain development itself, non-stop, ongoing. How many resources do we spend on this? Almost half of the resources, right? We spend on chain upgrades that sometimes are not visible to people.
Well, that's a constant thing that happens, right? Um, for example, I would say that the very important thing is, which is not mentioned in the pillar section, is that we want a decentralized marketplace of biometric providers. So not only like have one or two providers that verify the uniqueness and existence of our human nodes and users, but have a sort of a pool where providers plug into, and then it's just based on availability of their services, price maybe, or some even like deeper logic, uh, but they're mixed in one pool, and then users and validators get verified against this pool without actually knowing who is verifying them. So I think that's very important. The CVMs can be used in the same way they're used right now to um, safeguard this information from both parties, the biometric provider and the end user who is actually being scanned. Um, yeah, Victor.
Uh, I wanted to add that there will always be, I would say, biometric provider winners who would become mandatory, right? Because there should be at least one biometric provider which everybody uses in a certain service, of course. If we're talking about our chain, the most important thing in terms of security that we should, you know, mention that having several biometric providers mandatory will increase the security of the chain in terms of resilience to Sybil attacks. Resilience.
Yeah. Any additional feature from you, Victor?
Additional feature. Well, the things that we do with the four ecosystem, I would say, is something that people probably don't know. Is the tools that we prepare for them. This is something that is not obvious. So, system development it includes, of course, the goal of it is to have dApps that have users. But in order to have dApps to have users, we are integrating things like Third Web, which is the best probably thing for onboarding people who never ever even used MetaMask. So and probably they don't even have crypto; they only have credit card that they could, for example, biomap themselves by paying $1 from their credit card. And these are the things that are very important, and that's something we always work on that people don't see because the so on many chains the amount of projects that build tools is actually much higher than the number of projects who build dApps.
The fiat paid on-chain by mapping will blow my mind.
I
It's
mean
like,
that's the
what
setup
the
that
hell?
we
Where
will
did
have pretty
this
soon.
come
Yeah.
from? Yes, I'm telling you, it's gonna be serious. Um, Another thing that probably we should mention, Victor, is that someday, one day, one we're gonna update the launcher. One that's gonna happen someday.
Oh yeah, there will be a tipping point probably after I don't know, across 10,000 nodes or five at least.
10,000.
because we know, guys, how hard it is for you to use the launcher. We are actually making some updates to it recently. We didn't do it in a while. We usually just updated the node client when the blockchain changes, but now actually the things inside launcher, the errors that you encounter all the time, you will see them not that frequently. And one day when we'll have a lot of nodes, or there will be opportunity to onboard a lot of nodes, of course, we have to develop this one-click node launch. Let's say it won't be a one-click, but you would be able to launch it from your mobile. And imagine paying the
Right.
fees for your cloud provider inside the app itself, automatically converting it from humanoid and sending the money to the cloud provider. Will be great for non-techie
I
people
also
because our node runners are half techie people, I would say.
one click human node. One click human node. I'm gonna chant this
Yeah,
until
yeah. Well, in our defense, we have 70, 80 plus people running humanoids on the app we have right now. Yeah. And we actually published an interview with one of them. But yeah, there are a lot of things that can be improved with the launch of the node.
for sure. All right, guys. It's actually been almost 45 minutes. It's been 45 minutes since we began. So, if you have any questions, again, this is the good time to ask them. Maybe they're being asked somewhere where I just don't see them. I don't know. But if that's the case, I'm sorry. um, but Victor, what do you think should be um, like things that might be built around the current solutions of Biomapper? Like, imagine we have already integrated the cross chain part of it. What do you think people should be looking at, following in the ecosystem? Like, what things can be built around and on top of the Biomapper version that we're going to release in the
There's so
meantime?
many things that can be built.
What do you
Depends
think
on
are
how
those
easy it
things?
is. Okay, currently, I will tell you who are we talking to, right? I would say so. There is a game, of course. You can always protect your game rewards from Sibyl attacks, and I think that gaming tokens are so down at their all-time low simply because they didn't do that. If they did that, they would be much better off. They might be still alive, and the game file wouldn't be so down. Then under culturalized lending, of course, when by looking at your lending history, you kind of receive an NFT. I call it reputation NFT. Why NFT? Just because it's easier to do it like that with some lending protocols, and you can actually put this NFT as part of the collateral on par with your assets, and it will reduce the amount of collateral you need based on your credit worthiness previously, and without any banking history, ZK, TLS provided to the application from your local banks, which is sounds a little bit weird for crypto, but we've seen a project like that. Then the DeFi rewards, I would say the things that we did with LP staking can be done in any other formula or even vice versa, where big whales get more than small guys in percentages uh, to increase the TVL. So anything can be done in terms of reward distribution, which is not just per dollar per capital reward distribution. And well, just rewarding your users is always nice. You know, there's some protocols, yes, who actually earn some fees, then they use these fees to buy back and burn their token. And there is a lot of discussion on, is it actually viable to burn the token? You're just simply burning your money. You know, it's like getting a pile of bucks and just setting it on fire. Isn't it stupid? Aren't there better ways to distribute the fees that you get, the capital that you get? And there are a few ways you could go incentivize liquidity, or you could directly incentivize your users who use the product by giving them these fees back, so that the users come back again. And this is something we're also discussing with some projects where biomapper is used.
I think that just projects, at least as for now, projects really underestimate the effect civil resistance has on the optimization of their engagement with their users. They really underestimate like the economy that stands behind civil resistance systems, that you're spending much less resource on each individual user and collectively much less, because the incrementation of the resource that you're spending is not usually linear, right? It's usually exponential. Uh, Not only like monetary, but time, and bandwidth of things that you can work with, communication. I mean, so many things, and being lost just because, well, you're engaging with a bunch of bots. Not just a bunch of bots, they usually are a majority of your user base. So, yeah. Mm. But like an evangelist of a Sybil resistant internet, the day will come when every service is Sybil resistant. And it's just like a useless waste of money for an organization to engage with like a non-Sybil resistant account, basically. That's my humble opinion right here. I don't know what you think about it later. I don't know,
And
many people would.
I don't really think that everything needs
But
Sybil resistance. For example, some single player games that you just pay and play
no.
is an example where you don't need Sybil resistance. But
Okay,
if it's
a
in
coffee machine does not need the stable resistance. I agree.
coffee machine, I am not sure about it. I'm not sure about it because you can give like more or less coffee based on the previous times the person, you know,
Okay.
paid it. You
Mm-hmm.
can actually, yeah, gamify your coffee machine. So
Gamifying your coffee machine. That's the
yeah, you're
project I
just which stands on the street.
want
You
to
know.
know. Oh, okay. All right, guys. I think um, it's been quite some time already, and I think we're not getting any questions later. So I think we can just start wrapping this up. And guys, if you have any questions, this is the probably last several minutes, I will be able to take them. So any questions besides when moon are, well, please, you're more than welcome to state them in any of the chats. Well, nothing. Everything. Everybody knows everything about what we're doing here and why we're doing here. So they don't
Means
even
our
want
writers do a
certainty.
great job.
They just want results. They just want pillars built. They just want decentralization in place. They don't care about what we have to say. So I think that's a wrap.
Well, yeah,
You also have
that's a
a very
better
art.
option.
You
Huh?
have a very artsy background.
Yeah, yeah.
I know this is those are um, images drawn by a very famous painter.
In
It
Web3.
costs money, so you're just showing off at this point. Okay, guys, then if there's nothing you want to learn from us, then we're not gonna waste any more of your and our time, and we're just gonna go and work. So you guys have a great day. All right.
Cheers, everybody. Have a great weekend as well.
Yeah, the last remnants of the decentralized rebellion is still fighting. We're, we're not gonna lose to those oligopolistic guys on other protocols.
Centralized layer twos. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So if you're striving for real decentralization and you're here to build real things that will just realize stuff and not just pump your bags, then Humanoid is a place for you to engage with and discuss these themes with people in our ecosystem. So
Hopefully,
yeah,
we'll pump your backs as well.
this is not financial advice from me. Okay. Well then, guys, thank you very much and see you.
See you. Bye bye, everybody.